Today, we're going to talk about the 4 risk groups that commercial real estate is defined within the large institutional groups. So the 4 food groups that they categorize is going to be core, core plus, value add, and opportunistic buckets. Those are not asset classes, these are risk profile. So large institutional firms will categorize risk within those 4 food groups. So real estate people are not that creative. Like core, it just means it's solid, right? So core profile means you have the best-in-class asset. As an example, it can be a Class A building in Cupertino that has Apple as a long-term tenant. The returns are going to be a little bit lower because of the risk profile is less. So core, just a general rule is about going to be 7 to about 9% internal rate of return, IRR. Second, core plus is very similar to a core. As you can see, it has a little bit element of little additional risk. So using the same example, it could be a Class A building in Cupertino that has 80% occupied by Apple and 20% vacancy. Then you have to lease up those 20% to become fully stabilized as a core. Therefore, the return should be slightly higher because you take on more risk. And core plus profile is going to be a 9% IRR to 10 to 11% IRR. Then now the third, value add, is the most noticeable terminology everyone knows about. And just like in the English word, value add, you're adding value to a commodity or to an asset. So value add is going to have a little bit more of a riskier profile. As an example, it can be a 50% occupied shopping center that is built in 1990s with the non-credit tenants. Non-credit tenants means mom and pop operators. Nothing wrong with them. It's just they don't have the credit such as Apple or Hobby Lobbies or Petco's of the world. Therefore, you have to lease up the additional 50%, add in additional capital improvements, and also to increase the rents as the other 50% occupancy comes up due. That's called a rollover, and the terminology to get up to market is going to be mark to mark. So with those kind of risk profiles, it takes a little bit longer to really stabilize. Therefore, the risk return should be higher. Value add really ranges from about 12% to 18% internal rate of return. And lastly, opportunistic is the most risky from the perspective of an investment because it takes on a lot of elements of risk. That's why a lot of development, ground up development, is going to be categorized opportunistic. So the opportunistic, you take on the land acquisition costs, development costs, which is construction costs. The third, once it's all completed, you take on the management risk. You have to lease up that asset. So if you build a 100-unit apartment complex, you got to lease it up. And lastly, opportunistic takes on the market risk. So if you miss timing, you're going to take that market risk. Therefore, you have 4 or 5 different elements of risk, so the return should be much higher. And in the industry, they categorize that within about 20 plus IRR. But the goal here is always the core plus, value add, opportunistic is to manufacture core. So when you have a value add or opportunistic, you manufacture in core so you can sell it to a core buyer. That's how you're going to maximize your return. If you found this information helpful, smash that like button, subscribe, and leave us comments and questions on some of the topics you want to know more about, and we'll create that content for you.